got bad juju. I'm sorry, and he needs to go get the sage and like rub that over him or something because he needs some good luck.
How many times do you think you heard the words track limits in that race?
That's me taking a shot for every single time. Hi guys, welcome back to On the Chicane. You're here with me, Paris, and my co-host Marium, and we're here to talk about the hottest F1 topics of this week. This week we've had the Portuguese Grand Prix in Portimao, which has just finished, so we're about to get in and figure out all the stuff that's happened in that race and how that relates to all the things that are coming up. And we're also going to have a quick talk about sprint qualifying, so let's get into it.
So this week it was announced that sprint quali is going to be the qualifying session for 3 races of this season. The first race is going to be Silverstone, which is good because Paris and I are both going to be going. But yeah, so we've got a sprint quali session for Silverstone, the British Grand Prix this year, which I'm actually really excited about. Okay. So to break down what sprint quali is, it's basically just like a quick race before the actual race. So the format is something like on the Friday you've got first practice, then you've got your quali as you know it now, so you've got your Q1, Q2, Q3 all in one session, and then the Saturday is going to be practice 2, and then you got the sprint quali. So sprint quali is going to be 100 kilometers, so that's about 17 laps or so in Silverstone. And they're just basically going to run a very quick race essentially, and then that finishing will be the format and the start for the race on the Sunday. So yeah, like I said, I'm quite excited about it, but what do you think?
I'm a bit apprehensive.
Why?
I just couple of reasons really. I think it's interesting pushing all the quali to Friday. If they decided to adopt that for a few different races, I think they're going to lose a lot of viewership on a Friday because, for example, me, I'm working full time. I'm not going to stop working midday just to watch qualifying. So it means that I probably won't end up watching it at all unless I have time to catch up on the highlights or unless they show the highlights before the sprint race on a Saturday. So I highly doubt I'd watch those live anymore. And then on top of that, I just feel like you're going to have like 2 races on the weekend. So are people going to be wanting to conserve tires? Are they going to be wanting to take care of their engines and their gearboxes? And how's that then going to affect the way they position themselves in the sprint race and where their position then is for the final race on Sunday? So I don't know if it's going to lead to more apprehensive driving or if that means that people are still going to go all out, try and collect those points, because sprint races, you do get points for the top 3 finishers. You can get 3 points for first place, 2 points for second, and 1 point for third place. So there's points up for grabs, which hopefully gives them a bit of incentive to like really drive for it. But, you know, some of the slightly more cautious drivers might be thinking, oh, let me save my engine, let me save power for Sunday. So I don't know.
I think that's what makes it more exciting though, the fact that we don't know how they're going to kind of react to this situation, and it's going to be such a new thing for Formula One, so even the teams won't really know what they're doing. They're kind of going to have to guess and try and do the best that they can do on the Saturday, and then I think it'll make for an even more exciting race on the Sunday, because then you'll be like, oh, actually we don't have like the right tires, or various things like you just said. But I think it's quite exciting. I think given the fact that these guys are obviously first and foremost competitive athletes, I don't think it's going to stop them from trying to give their all on the Saturday. I don't think they're going to be like, oh, hang on, let me try and like save. I think obviously there's going to be an element of that, but there's going to have to be like team strategies and stuff put into place. So I don't think that kind of issue will stop them from trying their hardest on the Saturday, because they'll obviously have a strategy in place. So I'm just quite excited. I think, like I said, it's going to be about 16, 17 laps at Silverstone. Really, that isn't enough to know like how the race is going to pan out.
Mm,
Um, but I do think it's enough to see people just kind of put their foot down and
yeah.
go for it. I'm quite excited actually.
Because I think as well they get the choice of whether or not they want to pit or not during that time, so they don't have to pit. They're allowed to pit if they want to. 17 to 20 laps is probably about the time that you could stretch a set of tires. And if depending on which tires you have, you might even have to pit at some point, depending on which tires they choose. They get the chance to choose any tires that they want. So there's definitely lots of crazy outcomes that could happen just from the unknown, which is definitely the interesting, enticing part of it, and just to see how this then feeds into the rest of the week, the weekend. I mean, I'm like I said, I'm just a little bit apprehensive. I hope it doesn't cause any like negative reactions. I hope everything's really positive and it builds up the whole weekend for the race on Sunday. What do you think about it stretching out the race weekend though? Because now obviously quali's being pushed to Friday. How do you feel about that?
I don't really mind it because, for one, I don't mind losing a practice session because I think practice is a bit of a waste. I mean, maybe one practice session, but I don't see the need for three. Um, and quali on the Friday will set the positions for the sprint race on the Saturday. So
Mm.
I don't know, like I think I'm just excited to see something different because,
Yeah.
I mean, even based on today's race, it was pretty bland. So it's quite nice to have just a new exciting element in Formula One. Um, and yeah, obviously it's a format that Formula Two follow. So I'm looking forward to it, to be honest.
Yeah. Today's race was dry. Sorry, guys. It was just, I don't know, sandpaper dry.
That's a very good way of describing it because it really was. Like in comparison to last year, we expected, I think, a lot from Portimao because
Mm.
last year was just great, but this year just did not deliver. I was definitely falling asleep at some point.
Yeah. I think for me, it wasn't that. I know some people are like, oh, it's always Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas, like those one, two, three. I actually quite like the little battle between Hamilton and Verstappen and the whole like mental battle that's going on between them. I love that. It's just why are we as viewers, why are we just watching Hamilton, Verstappen, and Bottas for pretty much the entire race, going round and round in circles in the same positions? Let us know what's happening in the midfield. Like, I really wanted to see what was happening with Ricardo because obviously he wasn't doing so well. And then you've got Alonso coming like steaming up through the pack. I would have loved to have seen more about all of that stuff. So for me, it was just like there's so much more happening in the field and you're focusing on these three drivers. Yes, they're the championship runners, but it's the third race and a whole lot of shit can happen before the end of the championship. So let us look at some other stuff for now, please.
Yeah, I am 100% with you, to be honest. I think it's like it is important, obviously, for us to see what's going on at the front, but if there's no action at the front, we should be seeing more of what's going on in the middle or towards the back because yeah, there was so much that happened that I didn't really even know had happened. For example, Tsunoda was like down towards the bottom of the pack. I have no idea how or why that happened. I don't know if it's because I zoned out and I wasn't paying attention. I don't know if it's because Formula One didn't tell us what was going on. Like, I don't know. There's just lots going on. And then, like you said, Alonso, it was after his pit stop, he just started going for it with the overtakes and like overtaking everyone. And I was like, where did this come from? There was so much going on with the Ferrari boys as well. Like at one point,
Yeah,
they were both kind of towards the top end of the middle. And then Science ends up finishing like 11th or something out of the points. So, yeah, I feel like as a whole, Sky Sports potentially need to show us a bit more of what's going on
mm-hmm.
elsewhere rather than just at the top where it can
Yeah,
get pretty dry.
definitely. I mean, there were some good bits. So obviously, straight off the bat, you had Raikkonen hitting into Giovinazzi in the second lap, causing the safety car. Bottas managing that safety car restart really, really well. Kudos to him. But then still managing to get overtaken after that. So there was some interesting bits at first with the front runners. You had Lando doing some overtakes as well. Lando was up to like fourth, I think, at one point, and I think he finished at fourth as well. So he's doing really, really well, and I can see him doing really well actually throughout the season. So he overtook Perez on like lap 10, and that was a really nice move. So there was some things happening, but again, like that's not the first three people. Like that's even still like a little bit of the mid pack starting to get in on some of the action. Yeah. So I just want to see, personally, I just want to see a bit more of that.
Yeah, no, I agree. Norris actually finished fifth. The final four was Mercedes, Red Bull, Mercedes, Red Bull.
It was. You are completely right.
But yeah, I think let's just talk about Bottas for a second because he had a really good opportunity there. He obviously started the race, such a good start from him, like to get away as he did. And then obviously on the restart as well, backing up the pack and then just flooring it down. He did so well. Unfortunately, he didn't quite have the pace today. But why is it that Bottas always faces pace issues? And even his pits are always a little bit slower than Hamilton's. Obviously, I'm not saying it's intentional, but why is it that he struggles so much in comparison to his teammate? Like,
I think it's a bit of both. I think there was some stuff from Mercedes' side, obviously. So after the race, Toto Wolff he actually said we need to give Valtteri a bit more credit. Like he's doing so much better than he did last week. Obviously, last week he had a terrible race in comparison. So, well, not last week, last time in Imola. And this time he's obviously done so much better. He's put himself on pole position in qualifying. He's done some great starts. And then they had a power unit issue. So that was coming from Mercedes' side. But then on the flip side, you've got Bottas perhaps not defending as well as he should, or not kind of not warming up the tyres and keeping them in good position, in good condition. So I think something's just not working. There's no mesh there for him. There's a bit of bad stuff happening on both sides. He's got bad juju, I'm sorry. And he needs to go get the sage and like rub that over him or something, because he needs some good luck. He genuinely just needs a little bit of good luck. It's something that's beyond mindset right now. Like he just needs some good luck to shine on him.
Yeah, I think you might be right. Maybe he does need a bit of good luck. Because it's just a shame to see him, like, he's had not a very good start to the season, which is weird because in previous seasons he's always had quite a good start. But yeah, he didn't have a very good start to the season, but now 3 races in, he had a good opportunity today to try and, I don't think he would have won, but to maybe get second. But again, he managed to somehow lose out to Verstappen. But I suppose the one good thing that kind of came out of the weird battle with him and Verstappen and Hamilton was obviously the fastest lap situation. So at the end, Bottas pitted first. I think it was like it was just before the final lap. So maybe like lap 65 or something. Bottas pitted to try and go for fastest lap. Then Red Bull copied and Verstappen went to try and go for fastest lap. Verstappen got fastest lap, but then after the race, the stewards took that away from him because he exceeded track limits. So then
they took it away from him, and he found out on the podium. That kind of like cracked me up a little bit. I felt so bad for him, but he took it well. He was just like, you know what, cool, whatever. Next time we'll get it, kind of thing. Which kudos to Verstappen, and I don't rate him too much, but that was well taken on the chin. They did try and play a bit of tactics, and throughout the whole race, you had Toto Wolff on the radio trying to spur him on, and I feel like they were even just lying to him. I feel like when they said to him, "You're doing really well, you're the fastest on the track," and I was thinking, is he?
Yeah, it felt a bit kind of patronizing to me. It seemed a bit like a dad trying to encourage his son who's like not doing that well in a race, but trying to spur him on and be like, go on, son, you can do this. Uh,
Definitely gave me that kind of feels as
yeah,
well.
yeah,
One thing I think Mercedes just need to work on in general is their pit stops, because
I
even
agree.
Hamilton's pit stop was like 2.5, which, okay, in the grand scheme of things is quite fast. But when you've got like Red Bull doing 1.9 pit stops, everybody hitting their marks perfectly, and they need to be looking at Red Bull and saying, how can we get onto that level? Because every single second, every single millisecond counts in F1, and
Yeah,
that really didn't help Bottas. Bottas had a 3.3-second pit stop, and
that,
that meant that he came out right in front of Verstappen. His tires weren't warm. Verstappen had a whole lap on him. Like, that could have saved him. That 8.8 seconds, that really could have saved him some time.
I agree. But again,
So,
I feel like, I don't know. Yeah, the pit stops in general do need a lot of work from Mercedes. I mean, they're not awful, but they like Red Bull have been top of their game in the pit stops for years now. Um, but yeah, Mercedes really do need to learn a thing or two from them. Uh,
a couple of notes about the back markers.
yeah,
So, Yuki and Mazepin. Yuki's exceeding track limits again.
yeah. By the
Guy
way,
needs to learn where the track is.
how many times do you think you heard the words track limits in that race?
That's me taking a shot for every single time I heard it. Yeah, Yuki needs to he needs to learn where these track limits are and stick to them, because I feel like the same thing happened to him in the first race.
Yeah.
He was exceeding track limits, and once again, and this time it cost him, he got a penalty for it. So push, be a strong driver, be aggressive, but if there's a track, there's limits for a reason.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I kind of question the whole track limit situation because I'm like, is it a bit too harsh? Because I think it was literally, we weren't even halfway through the race, not even, I don't even think 20 laps in. And we had Sonoda, Mazepin, and I want to say Schumacher as well, that all were on like two, they'd all exceeded track limits twice. So then it was like they all were close to getting warnings. Um, so then it makes you wonder like how how important are these track limits and like why, I don't know. I feel like there's a whole argument for and against track limits and the
Yeah.
whole assessment of them. Um,
Also, that probably answers your question as to why Suki ended up all the way. Yuki, my bad. That it answers your question as to why Yuki ended up further back is probably because of the
yeah,
penalty.
maybe, yeah, that's a good
But they
point.
didn't show the penalty. They didn't show. I don't even know if he took it in the pit stop. I have no idea.
I don't know. Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah.
But also going back to Mazepin,
Mm-hmm.
sorry, but how is he in Formula One? He was a whole minute behind his teammate. He was
Wow.
last on track and he was a whole minute behind Schumacher. Schumacher even managed to overtake Latifi, so he beat Williams and got like whatever it was, 17th, I think. Um, but Mazepin was running a whole minute behind his teammate. How is that like? How is that even okay?
I do not know. And then on top of that, he, as a back marker, he's like trying to race the front runner. Like, get out of the bloody
I
way.
know,
Who do you think
honestly.
you are? His arrogance astounds me. Just move. Like, apparently, so he'd had like 5 blue flags, or he has had five blue flags. Um, Either during this race or across the races. I didn't quite catch when, but he seems to always just be in the way of other people, and maybe it could just be as well, like there's so many rules and there's so many regulations, maybe some of them are not sinking in, but that's a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm worried for his future. It's only because he's got money that he's here, to be honest. Let's be real for a sec.
Well,
But
clearly not worried for his future at all, because he'll definitely still be here next year. His dad's taken over the Haas F1 team.
yeah, I mean, that's a good point. But I hate it. I hate it when people can just buy their way into the sport. It's a bit like Stroll. Like, it's why he didn't grow on me for ages. And now it's only recently that I'm like, okay, you're actually not bad.
Mm.
But even Stroll had like some, he'd like won championships and stuff in the past before he came into F1. I don't know what accolades Mazepin has. That is my fault because I haven't done my research, but still, he just seems very rookie-ish to me. So yeah,
Exceedingly so.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. He needs to sort it out and quickly, and the pressure will just continue to get to you in F1 because people will point out your flaws. Like people are going to make fun of you, people are going to point out your flaws, and that is sad. But that is also a part of F1 is people are critical because it's such a technical sport. So we are going to pick up on those things, and that's going to get to him more. Probably make him make more mistakes. It's just going to be a horrible Pastor Maldonado cycle. He reminds me of Pasta. He reminds me of Maldonado back in the day.
really,
Yeah, spinning all the time, trying to be super aggressive. Textbook coming into F1 because of the money, like literally
yeah,
the same person.
yeah. I don't know. I guess we'll just have to see how he improves or doesn't improve as the season goes on. Um,
Yeah.
that being said, we have got Spain next week. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be interesting because usually they do testing in Barcelona, but they didn't do that this year. They did testing in Bahrain. So yeah, we're going back to Catalonia. Um, Spain's always quite a good race, I think. So I am quite looking forward to that
Yeah,
and just seeing how the championship fight plays out, essentially.
definitely. Man of the race, who is your driver of the day?
Ricardo, only
Okay.
because like he didn't do at one point he was much higher up than his actual final finish position, which I think he finished ninth. But he started obviously 16th. He had a very bad quali session. Um, but yeah, I mean, he did what he needed to do. It was only towards the end when I think it was after he pit that he lost out some of his positions. But I think he was up to sixth at one point. So I'm like, at least he still got it, you know?
See that he said that he is starting to feel more comfortable in the car, and we should expect big things from him in Barcelona.
I hope so because
Can't
everyone,
say that, Ricardo, without us getting our hopes up.
uh,
So
I'm a huge Danny Rick fan and I really want to see him do well. So
yeah.
yeah, what about you? Who was your driver of the day?
Definitely Alonso.
Oh,
His little battle back was came out of nowhere, and it's just bringing back that Alonso fire. And I know we were super worried about whether or not he had it. Remember at the beginning of the year, that's what we were talking about, whether or not he could come back with that pace, show the younger drivers up, and I think he did that today. So I'm going to give him a bit of kudos for that. And he finished in eighth, which is pretty good for an Alpine at the moment. Um,
he did do well to do the overtaking, but up until this race and up until those moments where he did start overtaking, I forgot that he was a part of the championship, to be honest. So, I mean, I'm not here for Alonso. Sorry for any Alonso fans, but I'm just not here for him. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think he did well, and I think special mention for Lando, who's third in the championship points at the moment.
Yeah.
Third race, he's third. He's finished in the top five for the last four races, so he's doing pretty well.
Yeah, that
Got to
little
give
kid
props
has
where
definitely
props
got
due.
a lot to show. Um, Also future championship material, I think.
Definitely.
But yeah, um, I
So,
think
what are you hoping for Barcelona?
I don't know, a bit more of an exciting race. I'm hoping that we see a bit more at the front, I guess. If that's all they're going to show us, we need to see a bit more action over there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I've got any high expectations from Bottas. I don't really know. I don't have any expectations from Bottas anymore, to be honest. But I am keen to see what Verstappen does because I think he's getting hungrier. Because I think slowly, very, very slowly, it might just be slipping out of his hands. So I
Yeah.
think he's going to remain hungry to try and obviously keep Hamilton on his toes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited.
And today was the first day that we saw Perez play his role. You know,
Yes.
they were able to try some tactics because of Perez. He was leading the Grand Prix at one point. So as he gets more comfortable in the car, we should start seeing him come into play and them start tag teaming Hamilton.
Yeah.
So hopefully that can even start from Barcelona, if not definitely the race after that. And I think we're going to be in for a really good championship this year.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, Perez was pretty good today, I think, as number 2.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I guess we'll see what happens in Spain next week.
Definitely. So thanks, guys, for listening. That's all we've got for you today. Check out everything, all of our social media, YouTube, subscribe, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and check us out on Twitter and Instagram at On The Chicane.
Yeah, see you guys next time.
See you. Bye.